Hi everyone, this is Joe MVR here, and we are joining you guys for episode 14 of the GRF podcast. I am joined today by Shinyo and Fish Snacks. Guys, you want to say hello?
No, we waited too long. Hello.
Hey, hello, good evening, everyone. It's been a while. Hope
Okay.
everyone's having a nice holiday.
You guys need to be you need to listen, you need to listen to my cues, right? We're a professional outfit here, right? Don't make us look like amateurs. Guys, Dennis will be joining us later when he is able. So today it's just the three of us. Fish Snacks, or Jesse, is a local Montreal buddy of mine, and we've been driving together longer than GRF has existed, right?
That is true. I remember us just kind of doing a lot of custom championships together and I don't even know if we did that many online ones. We competed a lot against each other in the AI originally.
Right, exactly. So we'll talk a little bit about how we met and stuff like that. But first of all, I should just ask how you're doing.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Yeah,
how are you doing?
Good. So you've just been on a trip to New York, is that right?
That is right. For some reason, New York has become the place to go. I think in the past 2 years, I've been 3 times, and twice since November.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And business or holiday?
Oh, holiday, just weekend thing. Leave on a Friday or a Saturday, come back on Monday, and see what kind of shenanigans you can get up to while you're there.
And what kind of shenanigans can you get up to when you're there?
Well, one, I can firmly establish that Montreal bagels are definitely better than New York bagels.
Okay.
So
good.
you went back 3 times to verify?
I only needed the first time to verify. I haven't eaten them since the first time, just because I knew that it's just a disappointment.
And then you went back 2 more times to shout out everyone who sold bagels.
That's right. Don't buy those. Don't buy those. Go to Montreal. That's where you
suitcases full of Montreal bagels.
Try this. More eggy, more chewy, less bready. Way better.
You had to go back to eliminate seasonal variation, right?
Oh, that's true, because in November it was pretty chilly, so walking around was less pleasant than this time. But this time it was 33 degrees and humid.
Cool.
But are we talking Celsius or are we talking Fahrenheit?
No, I'm the Celsius
Kelvin.
kind of guy, so I don't know what 33 Celsius turns into for Fahrenheit. Was it 100 and something?
Like
12?
No,
2000s?
No. Let me see. So 33, we divide by 9, so we get 3 and a third.
It's
3 and 2/3.
32 or something.
No,
so
3 and 2/3 times
95.
Sorry, divide by 5. You said 33. No, shush. 6.6.
I will not do math on air.
6.6 times 9. So it's 92 degrees. Around
I said 95 without even calculating. So
yeah. So you divide by 9.
91.4.
What?
Google says 91.4.
Yeah, well, I was doing it in my head, so in rounding.
Was that in ranking? Okay.
So, and Sten, you went away as well for a holiday last week?
Yeah, 1 week of France, Ile de Ré. Yeah, at the coast of France. Nice climate. French people, a lot of bread with butter and salt.
Montreal does better bread and butter with salt.
Of course, it's the best thing that exists. The only problem was that there was a lot of mosquitoes as well. Mosquitoes like humid climates and also my flesh.
Right.
Mosquitoes like me as well. Black flies don't, but mosquitoes do.
Yeah.
Black flies sound scary. What are they?
They're a third the size of a mosquito. When they fly around, they take little chunks out, but you don't really notice, and then you find yourself bleeding randomly behind the ear from a tiny little prick and then it itches like a mosquito bite. So
yeah,
they bite.
Really annoying.
Yes.
Yeah, but you don't really feel it. It doesn't hurt because they kind of numb you a little bit before they do it. So, but then it does end up itching.
So if there are a whole bunch of them, they just eat you.
Well, it's not swarms like some kind of a movie, but they fly around. They're early in the season kind of thing. So at this point of the summer, they've backed off.
Okay. Remind me never to come to Montreal.
Not in May. May is the black fly season, so you can try another time.
Okay.
Right, and they're literally eating you rather than just sucking your blood. They take a little bite,
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So
This one trick that dietists don't want you to know.
there you go. All right. So Jesse, yeah, we met because you were my wife's physiotherapist.
Yeah, well, I have to point out, because it's what we athletic therapists do. Is I'm an athletic therapist, not a
That's right.
physiotherapist.
Right.
So the main difference is that the physiotherapist specializes in post-injury care,
Yep.
whereas in the athletic therapist, you get the post-injury, then you get the return to play, then you get the injury prevention, and then, well, you also have the first aid component. So I'm a first responder as well.
Oh, fancy schmancy. Well,
So anyway, so rehabbing. Oh, she was doing a lot of running, so it must have been Achilles something or other.
probably,
Perhaps. It's been a few years. I don't remember.
right. And then I went in as well. She said you should go see the guy, and we started talking about cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I do this rally driving thing, and you expressed some interest. And then I think you came over to do a session at my house, and I showed you my rig. And I said, would you be interested in trying? And you said, yeah, you'd love to. I thought you were just being polite. I didn't think you were going to be really actually into it.
Oh, so it was such a wonderful opportunity to take driving from it must have been on a Pentium 133 playing Need for Speed 1
Right.
with the keyboard to sitting in a rig with a wheel and VR headset. Like, what a contrast.
Well, if you remember, I didn't have VR to start with, right?
That wasn't even VR to start with. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, because Stan, I have this 120-inch screen with a projector, and so we used to drive sitting way back at the back of the room and then just looking at the projector screen. Except my projector's best response time is about like 80 milliseconds. So
How can you live like this?
but I didn't know, right? Like, so I was just a little bit better than maybe average at the time. But then when we got VR, so I said, hey Jesse, you should try VR, and we liked it. So I had two rigs, two driving cockpits, and so I bought a second Rift. And I bought a second copy of Dirt Rally 2 so that when Jesse came over, we used to do this every Sunday night, and sometimes have spectators as well, watching on the big screen while the two of us
with
drove
80
the
milliseconds delay. They were like miles behind.
Yeah, exactly.
So you practiced with a handicap. So you steered in. You were practicing steering in earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Developing good habits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was incredible that. And this was before I think Dirt Rally 2 even had VR. And so with Dirt Rally 1, I tried it, and I hadn't played Dirt Rally 1 for a while. And suddenly I was just beating, even though I was feeling so nauseous from the VR, I was beating my best times that I spent months achieving on my second go with VR.
The difference was pretty wild in terms of the immersion and knowing when to turn and when to brake. It made a huge difference going from the flat screen to the headset.
Yeah, and I think, Jesse, you said something about the 80 milliseconds making a big difference in making the force feedback make sense.
Yeah, that too. I think initially I just couldn't figure out, like, that 80 millisecond difference was just enough to make things off-putting. And it just didn't quite make sense. And then with the headset and eliminating that 80 millisecond difference between the force feedback and what was happening in front of your eyes, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what's happening right now.
Right. And then, just as we'd got my theatre room sorted out, where we would be regularly having spectators, Jesse and I driving, and some of the spectators joining in sometimes as well, we'd make a local event and race against each other. The pandemic hit, and so having two VR rigs and all of that just didn't make sense. Then Jesse, you got your own VR stuff, and we started competing with each other online. And then I think the first online competition we did was the John Armstrong Challenge.
Oh yes, the John Armstrong Challenge. That was pretty fun.
Yep, and then we did the Subaru Challenge that an Italian group of drivers... Oh no, it was actually... Yes, it was the Italian group of drivers had set up. And that's how I met David Leonardi, from EXR.
Were
Oh,
we
yeah.
on the timeline with GRF here? Just to wrap my head around.
Yeah, so this would have been, I think, about almost a year before GRF started, at least 6 months.
A year before, and then
Yeah.
was COVID already?
Yep. So GRF has been going for 2 years, right? Right, so it was 6 months before, I would say.
Okay, sorry, I'm a bit confused with the timeline with COVID and stuff.
Right,
I
so
thought
COVID...
GRF was before COVID, but yeah.
No, COVID started, let's say, in the spring of 2020. GRF started in May 2021. So
Interesting.
yeah, and so around November time was when we started, doing a lot of these online competitions and stuff. So yeah, that's how we kind of met, and then we've just been driving remotely since then, and we've even played a collaborative zombie killing game in VR as well in our separate homes.
Arizona sunshine.
Yeah. There we go. So, right. So actually, one thing that's been confusing people, when I say it is Ghotisnax, you may not recognize who I'm talking about. So he's a GRF member who spells his name Ghotisnax. Now, the SNAX, is snacks, but Jesse, can you tell us how GHOTI, what most people would call Ghoti, translates to fish? How'd you get your name?
Because I'm being obtuse, really. In English, and it's not meant to work this way in isolation, really. Like the GH makes an F sound at the end of the word tough. So I just transplanted that at the beginning, and then the O can make an I sound in the word like women. So it's fi, and then TI can make a sh sound. What word would that be?
Nation, rational, any of the
rational, yeah.
any of the French words that end in ATION.
So, and then I put it together out of context and developed a Ghotisnax. So now everyone just looks at it and goes, Ghoti? I'm like, no, it's Ghotisnax. And they're like, man, you're being pretty silly about that.
Okay, good. So now we know, right? And because I can stop having to write it every time. Say, fish.
But this is an Easter egg only for those who listen to the podcast.
Right, there we go. So, yeah, so you've been on vacation, Stan's been on vacation. I think the only vacation I'm going to get is a poker game tomorrow night, maybe. And that's...
clean up this time?
Pardon? Yeah, hopefully. I hope so. Right, so tell us, Jesse, about your interest in cars and why did even the idea of driving rally appeal to you, virtually at least?
I remember distinctly experimenting with Richard Burns Rally early in my playing with computer games career, but it never quite sank in. I think mainly it was just because of the keyboard controls. And it offers a different kind of experience compared to circuit racing, where you're just doing the same track over and over again. So it's a different style of driving that definitely appealed to me more than the circuit racing. Mm-hmm. So when I got the opportunity to try it out for real at your place, it really kicked off an inspiration or a desire to continue driving in that fashion.
Right. And but you were already into cars. Could you tell me a little bit about your dad's car and stuff like that in real life?
No, in real life growing up, no, we had country cars. I learned to drive on it might have been a Suzuki Samurai with no brakes. Manual on a farm.
Okay.
And the most interesting car we had growing up might have been a strange brown Jetta manual. But my favorite car growing up was either the Lamborghini Countach, and right next to it was an Audi A4, probably a '95 Audi A4.
And you had both of those on your farm?
Well, I didn't grow up on a farm. That was my uncle's farm. So
I see.
Get to go and help him out. But I grew up in the boonies.
Right, but the Lamborghini Countach and the Countach and the A4 were cars that you just liked or cars that you had experience with in real life?
Oh no, just liked. Never any experience with those. Would have been
Okay.
wonderful to have a Countach. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there's
So
like movie Cannonball Run, was it?
yeah,
And they're racing around the countryside in ridiculous cars, and I think they made a Countach fly through the air, as I recall.
right. Because okay, so I've got to forgive me, but I have to ask: the Audi A4 and the Countach are very different cars. Um, why that combination of cars with the ones that you
I have
really
no
liked?
idea. Maybe it was the accessibility of the posters.
Right. Ah, yeah.
But,
Okay. 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 Okay.
it probably was those two that went up there. I think it might have been the Ferrari, the competing Ferrari at the time. I can't remember which one it was.
Right. Yeah, the Lamborghini, it's the stereotype, right? That, oh yeah, boys growing up in the 80s and 90s had the Countach posters and all of that. But for what I've learned since then from various car shows and podcasts and YouTube channels is that the Countach was a horrible car to drive and was
Oh
a bit
yeah,
of a death
Jeremy
trap.
Clarkson hates it.
Okay, okay, okay. Shinyo, what were your cars that you liked when you were a kid?
Porsches actually, and still are. I'm a big fan of the 911s.
Yeah, me too.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm waiting to get to my midlife crisis, so I can start.
That can start
yeah.
anytime you want. You can make it start right now.
Wow.
Yeah, just make
My
sure.
wife wouldn't let me, so I was threatening to buy a motorcycle. So maybe she's growing on the idea. First, I have to convince her to get a cat. So baby steps, baby steps.
Okay,
Spring
a
kitten,
cat.
they're really cute.
Yeah, kittens are very cute, and she'll probably, say, okay, we'll keep it.
Yeah.
So I'm a
We'll see,
Porsche fan as well. Like I don't know, from the conversation that Dennis and I had last time when you weren't here, Stein, we both talked about how we like Porsches, but then he draws the line that combustion engine ones only.
Yeah, for now, yes, because the electric ones really look a bit. Yeah, they look sporty, but it's just not the same. But I understand where he's coming from. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having one personally.
Right,
I think
right.
it's a entry-level sports car. I mean, if you have BMW M4 money, you have Porsche money, so I'd rather have the Porsche. And it's reachable in some respect. So
Yeah, no,
I
that's
think
that's great. I don't think I'll ever have one, but it's I'd love to at some point. But a cousin of mine just got one, so maybe when I
it
visit
would
him in the UK.
one side only wants one, but the other side is like the maintenance costs on those and just everything that can go wrong with those. Yeah, maybe better not.
Right, right. Yeah, we've just
At least not for my pay grade.
yeah, we've just had air conditioning and washing machine repairs recently, and I'm certainly very aware of maintenance costs and repair costs now, so I'm not going to be investing in any car that will need that kind of thing for a while. So, um,
But talking about kittens, fun story.
yeah,
Well, maybe not so fun story. I don't know. I've been trying to convince my wife to get a cat for like maybe 10 years. So that didn't work. She didn't want any pets. And now I'm trying to work it through my children. So I've been wearing non-stop cat t-shirts at home while the kids were still young. So I bought maybe like 25 t-shirts with all different arrangements of cats to wear around the house when the kids are home.
okay.
It's starting to grow on the little ones. Also got some compliments in the airport somewhere from my cat t-shirt with ice cream cat heads on. Yeah.
Good. So this is
Yeah,
a
go
whole.
on about the car stuff. I just wanted to mention this.
Yeah, but no, this is good. We can talk about cars, or we can talk about psychological domestic warfare, which is.
It is not working. I've started wearing t-shirts with cars on them. Just yeah.
Yeah,
Well, no, it has to be an Inception style of thing. So the T-shirts is a perfect start. So they have to think it was their idea in the end.
Maybe I'll just buy 20 kittens and see how many survive.
right, right. So Jesse, since the pandemic, when it's first started, if let's go back to Dirt Rally 2 for now. We used to drive quite often, but then it was time to get back to work eventually after lockdowns finished and everything. And so for the last, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, you've had much less time to drive. It's just now just once or twice a week that you grace me with your presence in on my Twitch stream.
Yeah, it's been pretty challenging. Well, I guess it's been challenging all along. I don't know how I logged 1,300 hours when I'm doing 4 hours a week now. So I think that first year I must have been driving all of the time like it was my job.
Yeah, I've recently really cut down a lot as well. So Tuesday and Wednesday I didn't drive, and that's what I used to do. Maybe 3 or 4 times a week. But then Void Robot started the daily GRF daily, and then for I think about a year I just did it every single day, and only missed maybe 2 or 3 days of GRF dailies, and now I resign myself to not doing the dailies most weeks now. So yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, it looks like Dennis is here. Hey, Dennis.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Dennis.
Hi. I didn't want to
Dennis,
interrupt
good evening.
the conversation, so I didn't say anything.
Yeah, I just saw the thing that you posted in our chat pop up.
You really should have, given the GIF you posted there.
I've been here for a minute or two. It's not that I've been here for the last 20 minutes.
Okay.
It's all good.
All right, Dennis, I'm just increasing your volume here. You don't, so there we go, I think. So Dennis, what have you been up to? This will be a good time for me to modulate your volume on the podcast as well. What have you been up to today?
Not a lot. Been a bit outside. In the garden. This morning I wanted to jet wash the carport, and after like 5 minutes the jet wash broke, so I had to order a new one. Couldn't do anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now you've got a good 30,000 PSI jet wash, right? You upgraded?
No, I got the cheapest one I could get. It's
So
not that
that won't break fast at all.
No. But we had the jet wash we had. That was the jet wash from the previous owner of the house, which he left here, and it was kind of a cheap jet wash. But it was okay for what we need it twice a year maybe. Our property is not that huge, and now I bought a Kercher, the yellow ones.
Oh, that's not a cheap one.
No, that's a good one, but it's the cheapest one I could get. It's $100. It's a small one, but like expensive one.
Okay, well, we have really interesting lives, right? We've got washing machine maintenance, jet wash purchases, cat t-shirts.
Yeah, 25 cat t-shirts from AliExpress. I paid like $50 for that.
That's dedication, dude.
Well, if you buy in bulk,
cat
it's cheap.
t-shirts.
And it takes so long to get them, you forget. And all of a sudden you've ordered 10, then 20,
Suddenly,
then 30.
it was really like that. It was like one drunk evening where I ordered the cat t-shirts while I was away for work. And then suddenly, 3 months later, packages started streaming in with like 5 t-shirts and 2 t-shirts. Like my wife's like, what is this? And they kept coming. I was like, oh God, I'm a genius.
Oh my gosh. Like,
I buy t-shirts at AliExpress all the time, by the way. They're not even that bad.
Oh, really?
I found a really good brand that you don't need to iron. They're the best.
Okay, I'm gonna get the details of that later on from you
Gotta
guys.
share that in the chat, because now I have to order t-shirts from AliExpress.
I'd say there's a bunch of cats on them.
I did order like a bunch of computer power supplies, like gaming laptop power supplies. From them, I ordered about 10, and they arrived one at a time. It was so frustrating.
That's where I draw the lines. Like AliExpress for electronics.
Yeah. Well, these were basically Dell power supplies, so they were pretty good. But 330-watt power supplies are quite difficult to get hold of for a decent price. So, okay, Dennis, now that you are here, just in case, I know you asked if there was anything you should prepare, and we said nah. But do you
I
have
didn't
any?
prepare anything.
Do you have any
Uh,
WRC Generations news?
no, not at all.
Oh damn! Oh
Is
well.
it my idea that it's a bit
Uh,
bleeding death a bit focus or
Yes,
uh,
yes.
then-
It's. I think it's a bit on the declining side. We're having troubles to get enough drivers together so that we get promoted to the next league. But I think it has also to do because it's summer and people are mainly into other stuff, just like me.
Yes.
So yeah,
but is
I
another
mean,
general decline in WRCG players or
yeah, WRCG players. There has been a general decline since the first weeks when the game came out. But I think we'll be fine. It's just at the moment I think people are into doing other stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I
And
think.
people, of course, people are waiting for the new WRC game,
Of
I
course.
guess.
Yes. Now rumors are that it was delayed because of some issue. I can't
Yeah,
remember
but
what it was.
that's all rumors. We still don't know anything. I mean, there was also strong rumors that it would come out on the 28th. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was
That's next week,
June
right?
or July. Yeah, that's such. I don't know who posted this initially. It was all over social media, and there's absolutely nothing that could back this date up. So
Yep. No, that's right. We don't know yet, so and
mm,
we'll just carry on.
just some numbers on WRC generations in the past 3 months the player amount dropped like 40%.
Wow.
yeah, well, yeah. The problem is also when I mean, what you can play now in WRC Generations is the league mode. I think that's the mode that keeps you going. But since KT Racing, in their rotation, there's more or less always the same location, and weather. So even there, it after quite a while, it's not fun anymore.
Oh,
I think
see.
this week it's New Zealand and Estonia, which is something kind of new for the rotation because usually it's wet Japan quite often. So I also think that has to do. People are just not really into driving the absolutely same stages and weather again and again. Although there's plenty of other locations and weather options in the game.
Yeah, I wonder if they had something automated and there was a kind of a bug in the algorithm or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that they care about the game anymore, anyways.
Sure, I get you. And Jesse, I know you don't play that because there's no VR.
Yeah, I'm kind of a VR snob. Unless it has VR, I'm not going to touch it.
Yep, and this is a guy who used to play on the keyboard before.
How life has changed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Dennis, so we've just had a fantastic championship, GRF regular championship. Was very diverse set of cars and locations and car categories, and I really enjoyed it. You want to tell us about a little bit about what's next, or even tell us about the championship that just happened, if you want to say anything more about it.
Yeah, the last championship that we had, it was. I'm glad that you liked it. It's more or less all the stages and locations and cars that I enjoy driving, even though I was gone and I didn't do one single rally. And since summer is still young, and as I mentioned before, people are into doing other things, we're just going to have another summer league with similar stages and more or less the same car classes again. Starting next Tuesday, it's going to be 7 rallies. I haven't prepared it yet,
Okay.
but yeah, starting next Tuesday.
And is it going to be like seven events in a championship, or are they going to be like
Yeah,
different
7
weekly
events.
events?
Yeah, seven events in the championship, and I mean 7 rallies in a championship, and
Yeah.
every rally is going to last 1 week. It's going to be the same format as the last one was.
Okay, great. That makes sense. And can you give us an idea of what kind of car classes, or is it going to be a different one each week?
It's going to be a different one each week, but it's going to be the popular classes with the odd front-wheel drive class thrown in there that nobody likes except me.
Okay, and any rear-wheel drive ones?
Yeah, maybe one or two.
Okay.
Do you have a
Okay.
certain preference of rear-wheel drive class? What's your favorite one?
No,
Your team?
I don't care anymore. Like I used to not like it, but now I realize that I can do better on the world stage in rear-wheel drive than I can in all-wheel drive
Uh,
usually,
uh,
and I'm really enjoying them. So any of them, including RGT, I have fun with.
yeah, I'm sure that I'll throw at least one rear-wheel drive class in there.
Jesse, what do you like?
Rear wheel drive.
Yeah? What kind?
All of them. I really
Uh,
enjoy the difference in driving. So the expert historics have been really good for that. Being able to stick with the same car all season, especially. I really do enjoy the Porsches now because of that.
Good. Okay. And Shinyo, do you have a preference for type of car class or type of
For
drive?
rear-wheel drive, if we add two more drive-driven wheels at the front, I'm all good.
Yeah, Shinyo is on my team in this case.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I tried to like it, but
It's
I'm holding out for the new game. That I will. It'll certainly work there.
with
Sure.
me, it's always the same thing. Like in the last special event where I had to drive the Sierra in GRF3, it always starts really good, and I think, hey, this drive's actually nice. I like the Sierra. Rear-wheel drive is not that bad. And once the wheels
Tires.
are worn out
Yeah.
and more stuff I break on the car becomes even more undrivable, and I'm really nearly every time I really just want to rage quit after like half of the rally.
Yeah. Yeah. So a
Yeah,
lot of the
worn
cars.
tires and rear wheel drive
Yeah.
It's
can be
crazy.
absolutely life
Yeah,
draining.
especially in this game. I've said it many times before. I'm not really into the rear-wheel drive physics of the game. But once the wheels wear out, it's just for me, it's kind of impossible to even keep the car on the road
Yeah.
at certain speeds.
Yeah. This is what N Bates 66 told me once was that especially when there's an endurance component where you think that after 3 or 4 short stages, the rear wheel drive car's tires are going to be worn out. He keeps the drive differential on quite low, even though the cars go much faster and drive better with the higher differential when the tires are not worn. For that safety aspect, he has that he drops the differential a little bit to stop the crazy oversteer going on,
Mm.
and that really does work. Sometimes I decide not to do it in order to not sacrifice time when the tires are not worn, and just make a mental note to be very, very careful when the tires are worn with the throttle control. But of course, that doesn't apply with the Alpine because there's no differential setting anyway. So yeah, so that's just a little tip, to try to have the drive differential less locked. If you know that you're going to be in the domain of worn tires later on in the rally. So yeah, that's that. So we're gonna have a mixture of car classes and locations for this 7 week upcoming summer league.
Yes, right. Yeah, I'll try and throw some other locations in there, locations that we didn't have in the first summer league. But yeah, as I said, mainly popular car classes, 4x4, and with the odd front wheel drive and one or two rear wheel drive classes,
Perfect.
and mostly good weather and enough service areas so that you don't get too frustrated. At the end, it's called summer league. It should be fun. You don't have to drive every single event if you don't like to. It's just something to drive during summer when people are on holiday or don't feel like doing like a rally every week.
Right, right. So we also have a new special event that just started, I think, yesterday or the day before. And it's basically a winter league, really, because it's all taking place in the southern hemisphere. It's only 3 weeks because there are only three southern hemisphere locations: Argentina, Australia, and New Zealand. I think it's going to be it's Australia now, then it's New Zealand, and we finish off in Argentina, and it is in the 2000cc class, but we have very specific cars that we must drive. GRF Tier 1, the Pro tier, is going to be driving the Subaru S4. Middle tier, I believe, is the Fabia. And the third tier, I think, Dennis, you're happy to hear that it
Yeah.
is the Focus 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looking forward to that.
right, right. So yeah, the Australia is already underway, and I have heard that there's already a lot of carnage and a lot of people have DNF'd already. So
Yeah.
hope
Knife Ninja leads by 30 seconds.
right, right. And I think Benjamin the Bean was second, but I think he actually DNF'd. So it's still early
Uh,
days. Not many people have done that yet.
uh,
So I think it's going to be quite an interesting one. I don't. I love driving the S4, but I've hardly ever used it because it is quite a slow car. And the idea again was so that um, putting the cars in kind of order of speed and how good they are. So the S4 is one of the older 2000cc cars that is rather slow, but in the hands of the more experienced or better drivers, we might actually see some tier 2 drivers like Jesse here beat some of the tier 1 drivers because the Fabia, I think, is probably is a faster car than the S4.
Yeah. The S4 is a super fun car to drive, though.
I love it.
The turning while braking. I mean,
Yeah.
you can really aim it like, yeah, with a mouse.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's very very precise. I was
it's
a
very
bit more
forgiving.
unlucky in my run. Yeah, it's very forgiving as well. Yeah, I was, like I told you just before the podcast. I was a bit unlucky in my run. I hadn't driven in a few weeks, and my Fanatic handbrake went on to go haywire again, jumping from 0 to X% of inputs, and yeah,
Like
that was not
spontaneously.
fun at all. Sorry?
It would just come on spontaneously, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. The
Oh,
system what it's connected to the rig with, I mean, the pedals, they're okay. I mean, they work with the RJ11 connector, the little telephone
oh
line
yes, yes,
connector.
RJ11, yeah.
So it's spring loaded, like all RJs are, so it works well. But the handbrake works with the 3.5mm jack, and the handbrake, how do you say it, package, well, anyway, where the mechanic is inside of,
Yep.
isn't quite close, so dust can get in quite easily. So it's yeah, it
I
happens
see.
a lot that there is dust in, and then I get wonky input reporting, have to blow it out.
I see.
Now, just when I
Like
did
a
the one shot
Nintendo
weekly,
cartridge.
sorry.
Like a Nintendo cartridge.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, the problem is, yeah, with the VR headset on and the little plug is located at the bottom, I just can't just unplug it and blow in it. So anyway, but yeah, it's not great.
So what happened during the run?
But anyway, the car feels nice. I'll do the other ones. I'll see where I end up. But
Did you DNF or something, or what happened during your run?
yeah, well, it constantly was flickering. So I thought initially I had minorly touched like a little red rock. It was like, oh shit, did I ruin my engine because I was constantly losing power?
Yep.
And like in stage 3, sector 1, suddenly I had a cutout again, but a larger one, and it spun me around and a double puncture against the wall. And it was like, yeah, if I have engine issues already and still need to drive with 2 wheels, so I kept the honor to myself.
I see. I see. Yeah, I mean, I really loved the S4. I found it so beautifully easy to drive. I haven't driven it in a long time, so we'll see how it goes. But I do find it very easy to drive, and it feels really fast until then you see the time and oh, okay, that was underwhelming, but it was sure fun to drive. Jesse, have you driven I think we've driven the S4 in the competition before in Australia, actually, the Subaru competition. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
we have.
Yeah.
No. I don't remember it at all, but I do remember when I drive the Subarus, they are fun to drive. And then, as you say, you finish and you go, "Oh, it wasn't faster than that."
Yeah, I think at one point I got the fastest S4 on Nuremberg Ridge Ascent in the rain, and it was ranked something like 800th or something like that, you know. So yeah, it's not the fastest car, but it is such a pleasure to drive. I really love it. Interestingly enough, you mentioned Knife Ninja, and he says, why are all the cars, all the Subarus, so understeery? And I don't find that at all, and especially, you know, if you tune the cars well. But he is on the controller, and I wonder if, you know, that is having an effect on how the car feels. Does anyone have experience with the controller on Dirt Rally 2?
No.
No.
Not in
Started
Dirt
with it,
Rally,
but
not in
yeah.
Dirt Rally 2, but I mean, all-wheel drive cars are in general very understeery.
Sure, but the S4, I really didn't ever think that it was.
Oh, me neither. It's a car which I quite often use in that class because it's so fun to drive.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's cars that are worse.
yeah.
Maybe it's really because he's on a controller. Because when you play other racing games, like I don't know, arcade games, Forza Horizon or something, and you drive 4x4 cars with a controller, they're all very understeery.
Okay, okay. All right, well, I'll see what I can do in terms of tuning and stuff. As I've said in the past, he's used my tunings a couple of times for different cars and liked it enough that he could beat me with the same tuning. So, you know, he's really very good. Uh, and when his car's set up well, he's close to unbeatable. So yeah, okay. So that's the summer event. I mean the GRF special event currently. We were talking about various different formats. In the Expert Historic, we had a chat with Mexico and Squeaks recently, and one of the proposed formats really appealed to me, and I think I might try this as an experiment. So, if anyone who's listening wants to leave some comments about this and what you might think about this, this was Squeaks's idea. He was saying that to have an event where, let's say, you have 9 stages, and the first 8 stages count for 50% of the points, and the power stage is 50% of the points. So you have to balance preserving your car very well in the first 8 stages so that you have a perfect car to do the power stage. Conversely, if you do screw up your car in the first 8 stages, you've got, you know, maybe a chance to repair it and do you know, a really good power stage. So anyone have any thoughts about that? That might be a fun kind of thing to try.
Are you going to give a medium to long service before that power stage, or are you going to keep it to 15 minutes to encourage a clean driving in the first aid?
Yeah, that's the point, right? I think it's supposed to be a clean. You were trying to encourage clean driving, and it's supposed to be a very brief service so that you carry over most of the damage.
And is this based on some kind of real life format?
No, it's just based on someone's sadistic fantasies.
You said with the smile in your voice.
I mean, we've got a 5-year-old game, right? We've got to make it interesting somehow.
I'm not opposed to giving that a shot. No.
Yeah. What about Shinyo, Denis? Any ideas? What do you think about that? We try something like that.
I don't know. I think a power stage that has points given is already a nice compliment. Maybe there's a bit too much weight on that. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the point is just to encourage people to drive safely, but then not too safely, because 50% of the points are in the kind of warm-up stages, right? And then 50% of the points on the power stage. So, you know, the idea was actually at first to only make the power stage count, but then people would, you know, either just get bored or they would drive super slowly and make
Let's
it
say you
more.
turn it around and make the first stage count for 50%. Then people will go balls out and.
Yeah, or we could do it 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So 1/3 on the first, 1/3 on the rest of them except for the power stage, and then 1/3 on the power stage.
I think if you just do
That sounds like a
50-50,
normal rally, no?
No, because um, let's say there are 9 stages. Only stage 1 is 1/3 of the points, stage 9 is 1/3 of the points, and stages 2 to 8 taken together are 1/3 of the points. But I don't want to overcomplicate it when it comes to calculating these things. But this was just one of the many ideas thrown about.
well, the 50% points on the power stage certainly rewards those people who have more experience on that one stage. So if in terms of accessibility to everyone, it's a bit of a detriment to those with less experience in whatever rally you're in.
Right, but then that's the same. I mean, you're not that likely to have, um, tons of experience in just one stage of a location, are you?
Yeah, well, yeah, you are. I mean,
For sure.
with the time trials we had running for a year, there was a few stages in a few countries that I know at the back of my hand, and then suddenly there's like, oh, that's part of this country as well.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Well, anyway, we can.
Like, remember how good I am at Finland? I have no idea what corner's coming up next in Finland.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that maybe in the GRF meeting at some point. Okay. And then what else do we have going on? The dailies are going great as usual. Speed Sensei shows up there quite a lot. I haven't seen Pukey for a few days in some of the events, but there's been good participation. The One Shot Weekly is going well. We had Poland in the Lancia 037 last week, and that's going well as well. We're coming up.
This is the one right now is really fun.
What is it?
High speed downhill Monte Carlo, but dry only. I mean, just
Yes.
a slight bit of ice at the start, but
Yes.
it's. I never thought I would have a lot of fun in Monte, but this was really fun.
Is this Group A? I think.
Yeah. I like Group A anyway, and
Yeah.
Tarmac is okay. I didn't have a setup, so I just took a Germany setup and went for it.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
it was fun.
Have you done it already, or did you just practice?
Yeah. No. I did it before I did the special event, so I didn't have any issues with the handbrake there.
Okay.
I think, not that I know of at least. It only started in the special event.
Okay.
But but I haven't done a lot of them. Obviously, the one shots, which
Yeah.
will be a completely different top 10 this time around.
Oh, right. You haven't been participating in those.
No, not
Okay.
well. The past few weeks have been extremely busy, so that's why the podiums are a bit delayed for special events as well. So, but I'll try to pick up the pace again soon.
Great. Okay, hope you can. Yeah, and then we have Expert Historic, which is starting up on Friday, so tomorrow. We're starting Expert Historic. The first event will be running from Friday to the following, not the following, but the following GRF Tuesday after that. So a change that has been made is that the Expert Historic is going to be synchronized with the rest of our GRF clubs. The first event just has 3 extra days or 4 extra days of running, so that people can have a little bit of extra time to join the system, to join the championship, and it's something I'm looking forward to a lot. But this time, for the first time in Expert Historic history, it's going to be Group B 4-wheel drive.
Group B 4-wheel.
Yes, so it's
I'm
4-wheel
super
drive.
excited, by the way, but I want to ask some pointers later on.
Yes, sure.
What part to take? I mean, I would always take for a Group B, always a 4-wheel drive. I would always take the Lancia, but
Yes.
I think I'll kill myself. So, is there a next best thing to survive?
Well,
Historic?
actually, so yeah, okay, let's talk about that briefly now, and then I'll come back to some of the organization of the Expert Historic.
Yeah, sorry
No,
for
no, no, no
messing
problem.
up your agenda here,
You
John.
know,
But
Typecast
I was too
Wookiee.
excited seeing it was finally a
Yeah.
four-wheel drive. Yeah.
Yeah, like
So,
Typecast Wookiee has done very, very well in the slowest car before, which is the Metro. The MG Metro is very easy to drive, and it works. You know, he's
yeah, but
shown.
a professional golf player can hit a hole in one with a watermelon.
Of course.
So
Yeah, but what I was trying to get to, what I was trying to get at is that sometimes ease of use of the car, you know, can make for a better experience, and that one is one that is uh, reasonably easy to use. But yeah, you know, the Audi will also kill you.
yeah, the Audi I used together with Knife Ninja and JRC season a few seasons ago. It wasn't a too happy experience either. It was a bit big.
Yeah,
I really liked the Lancia, but I think it's just too fast. The turbocharge.
you know what you could do is, you know, your right foot, just don't use it so much.
I have only one. I mean, there's only
Setting.
2 bits there. It's 0 or 1.
Right. Yeah.
I binded it to a key, so I don't need to use the pedal.
Okay, well then, you know, you could also try using your left foot a little bit, but that will also kill you if you've got if you're using both at the same time.
I'll just maximum gear will be 2nd gear, and then still.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why we finish in Australia, because you have these like powerful cars, and you need to use the accelerator for like 0.3 seconds, and then then back on the brake again. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting with the first 2 rallies being rather, for the most part, quite fast. But these cars also have really notoriously shit suspension. And
Oh man, that's
Australia.
What stage is it in Australia with that
Taylor Farm
straight at
Sprint.
the beginning? Oh my god!
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
trying
this
to do
is-
that in the Lancia, and it was awful.
Didn't we do like a
Time trial
trial in
challenge.
the Lancia once?
Yes, we did. I think
Yeah,
it was.
with
Yeah.
the Finland setup, Fishnex, with the Finland setup, you can survive it. 1 out of 7.
Yeah. No, the way I do it, the way I usually used to do it was to tune the car for the rest of the stage, which was 3/4 of the stage, because only the first stage is that crazy one, and just to maybe sacrifice a second going slowly through there, and you can make up the time.
Jumping back to the power stage 50% idea for
Yeah.
Taylor Farm Sprint, maybe we just do not count the first part, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone can just granny their way through and then hit the accelerator
Yeah.
afterwards.
But you know what I found recently was the opposite. Got you better gains. If you had a setup that really worked well for the first sector, you could gain several seconds, which you couldn't, you know, gain as much in the rest of the stage. And so yeah, you know, so now I go for that approach to make sure I get through that safe and fast. And it's all
I started lifting off the accelerator much earlier.
Yes.
Just when you start seeing the corner, I'm like, okay, time to back off a bit now.
Go through the gate. And the worst is when you get through the gate fine, but then you hit a tree right after it or something. Anyway, Taylor Farm Sprint. So yeah, the Expert Historic. What else is there? We've got a new tier system which was based with some really good work done by Squeaks. You know, he examined everyone's rankings, how much they average deviation there was from, you know, the leader's time, and he did a really good statistical analysis and showed that there were 3 decent cutoffs that we could use to establish the tiers. And so that's going to be in play. We have some new rules about, you know, things like contingency and people starting up which tier they're going to be assigned to. I'm looking forward to it. You know, as I said, it starts tomorrow and we have 10 days, and then after that every week. And I'm really happy that it's synchronized with the rest of our clubs. So now every single thing runs from noon CET, GRF Tuesday, to the following noon CET, GRF Tuesday, except for, of course, the GRF dailies, which are from Sunday to Saturday. So, Jesse, I know you don't have a lot of time to do to drive. So, what are you going to be focusing on in the next few weeks?
That's a really good question. I think I'll devote my attention to the Group B in Expert Historic.
What car are you gonna get? Next?
I know that I really truly do enjoy the Lancia, so I'm probably going to go with the MG.
Oh, the Metro.
The Lancia is a really good car. It's fantastic, but I want to try and devote time to learning cars that I don't normally drive. So I've got relatively a lot of experience with the Lancia, so I'm going to go with something else and avoid the Audi.
Right. So sorry, I missed it. My wife just came in here. Did you say you were going to go with the Metro after all, or with something else?
Yeah. No, I'm going to go with the Metro, I think, and just like I developed my relationship with the Porsches and how the old Porsche carries over to the handling with the RGT Porsche, I'm going to see about the Metro.
Okay, cool.
See if I can handle that supercharger at the top range.
Why
Right.
not the Peugeot?
I don't know. You know what? It's still up in the air. Maybe I'll just do a few time trials in each
It
car and
looks
see
like it.
which one.
So the
see which
Peugeot
one's more fun.
is part of the ones that are trying to kill you, right? Is part of that group. It's just a different
Is
car.
it? Oh, God.
Yes, it is. It is, and I think I think it might have quite a bit of like turbo lag as well or something. So I think I've heard it described a bit like the Renault 5 Turbo in some respects, and that's how I seem to remember it in the corners.
Oh.
You have to clutch in and everything.
Maybe it was a
And the
Peugeot, right?
RS200? Okay, sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. I was just like one of those Group B are all four-wheel drive cars I remember driving, and it was just nothing, and then boom, power for 1 second, and you were topped out, and then you shift gears, and then it's nothing, and then spinning the tires, and then shift, and then nothing, and spinning the tires. It was just impossible to drive.
Yeah,
Because you had to keep it in a narrow rev band of like 500 revs or something at
Was it with the
7,000.
80 milliseconds or?
No 80 milliseconds, so I don't have that excuse.
right. The Ford is supposed to be pretty good as well. I mean, I've
Yeah,
liked
I
it.
love the Ford, but the
Yeah.
problem is the wheels on the wrong side.
Ah,
In VR, at least, yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing. For me, having grown up in Britain, um, but I've done most of my driving now in Canada. I don't mind either way, but I do find there's an adjustment period going from one
I
to the other.
always feel like I'm in a sidecar when I drive on the right, and I always feel like the car is going to roll over on the driver's side.
Yeah. No, I hear you saying about that. I would probably try to do the. What I'm trying to do also is to get used to the right-hand drive cars as well, so that I can adjust faster. But I will be taking the Lancia. Dennis, will you have time to do the Expert Historic?
I don't think so. Usually I can stuff two rallies, two Dirt Rally 2.0 rallies in a week, and I think I'll concentrate on special events, and I really want to do the Summer League 2.0.
Right. Yeah, I do the last championship, the last regular championship. I did just like a special events one. I did a few shakedowns, and off we went, and it was fun doing it that way, I must say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm also doing the Two Idiots One Car championship, and
Where are they at now in their season?
I think 4 events have been
Is
done.
that?
There are two or three left, I think.
Okay, nice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing that, and I began to take it a bit more seriously because Knife Ninja was presenting a challenge, and so is Mexico right now. But once the Expert Historic starts, I will just be jumping into that. Two Idiots, One Car with a couple of shakedowns in my Alpine that I love so much. So, to the Expert Historic, I've got to try to defend my podium spots there, and it's getting harder and harder, especially since some people aren't taking slower cars anymore and they're taking the faster cars. I'll be taking the Lancia, of course, because I've just fallen in love with all the Lancias except for the Fulvia in the game. So, guys, what else is there in terms of GRF events going on? We've got the Summer League coming up, special events have started, the dailies are ongoing, the one-shot weeklies are ongoing and coming. I guess we're more than halfway through, and
Yeah, there's only 3 or 4 more events
right
remaining, I think.
Okay, good. And then we have Expert Historic that's become even more GRF-like with synchronizing with everything that we're doing. So is there anything else that we've missed? RBR, I guess, we didn't really talk much about.
I think we need to invite Void Robot.
Yeah, we need to do that for sure.
In-depth RBR vision, because none of us drive in the RBR event, I think.
I think we didn't have him on a podcast for quite a while, I think.
I don't think we've ever had him on the podcast, only on our meetings.
Oh no, calls. Oh yeah, we should ask him for an RBR update before we start the podcast.
Yes.
We would have to talk something to talk about RBR.
Yeah, we should, and we'll see if he can join in and be here in person to give us that. Okay, so that's really all the GRF business then. Anyone want to add anything before we go to shout-outs and wrap up?
I don't have anything to add.
No? Okay.
No, I think we're at a nice round hour timer, so...
Yeah. Jesse, is there anything you wanted to mention quickly about Dirt Rally 2 or anything else that's on your mind?
No, I think we're pretty good where we're at right now.
Okay, so let's have some shout-outs. Is there anyone you want to acknowledge? Jesse?
Oh, I think we should acknowledge Gifu in Portugal. He hasn't driven recently, so I'd like to encourage him to come back to the wheel and join us.
Okay, shout out to Gifu. Dennis, anyone?
No, not really this week. I've not been involved that much due to summer, family. Now that I have less work to do at work, I spend more time with family and stuff. So, no.
Okay.
Nothing from my side.
Stein, anyone you want to say hello to? Shout out?
At this time, nobody in particular. I'll reserve this shout out for the next podcast and do one extra then. I haven't been in it here in a few weeks. I haven't been discussing with a lot of people. So happy to see familiar faces in the chats. That makes me happy. That's enough.
Okay, cool. Well, then I will do my usual millions of shout outs. So Mexico and Squeaks for really, I think, putting in the work to get Expert Historic. This season, I think, is going to be the best, at least administratively, we've ever had, and I'm really, happy with their hard work and input there. I have to shout out to Benjamin the Bean. He's been driving phenomenally in some of the competitions that I've been participating in. So shout out to them, the Two Idiots One Car Cruise people there. I'm trying to get them to listen to our podcast a little bit and join GRF too. And so shout out to all you guys there, Dumpster Fire, A's, and those guys. And to all newcomers to GRF, if this is your first podcast, please do join in the community, and I think you'll find a great home here and have lots of fun discussing stuff. And also, finally, to Mustafa, who seems to be back after a bit of a hiatus. We're glad that you're back in at least Expert Historic, and we'll see you out there on the gravel. So, guys, I think...
Or on the tarmac. Or the ice.
Yeah. I don't like those, though. So I only shout out to gravel, no shout outs to tarmac.
No shout outs for Monty.
No, Monty is good because it's got ice. I love the ice.
Oh.
I like the slippery stuff.
Monty without ice and snow would be the best.
Okay.
Yeah, like without the little rock walls. Yeah.
Like Sanremo in WRC.
Yeah.
They just have to make the roads a bit wider.
Yeah. So
Oh,
in
the
Roundabouts.
I like them like that. I just don't like the snow and ice bits.
Yeah, I really love the snow and ice bit, and but the
Especially, you like them in a rear-wheel drive car, right?
yes, I do, I do, because it's challenging, right? And you
It's the
can,
worst combination.
I know, but if you get even like reasonably decent at it, you're one of the best in the world. That's so I guess it's just an ego trip, really. But then we have what you call it, Expert Historic. They do use Monty, the lower stages of Monty, as San Remo in the Expert Historic. So yeah, you're right there. It's like San Remo, Dennis. Okay, well then I think we should wrap up, as Shinyo said, just around an hour or so for this podcast, and we'll try to do another one soon and get some proper updates from RBR, and maybe get another guest. Jesse, hope you'll be able to join us again sometime.
That'd be lovely. I had a good time today.
Okay, thanks, guys. You guys want to say bye?
Goodbye, everyone, and thanks, Jesse, for joining us.
Oh, Dennis tried to say something there, I think.
No, it was a gong. No, it was just a gong.
All right, guys. Dennis, do you want to try again? I think that was you trying to say goodbye, was it? I think we've lost Dennis.
Yeah,
I think you
I'm
got
here. I
hit
had to
by a
change the
gong.
room. No, I'm here. I had to change the room since my wife just got home.
Okay. Okay,
So
cool.
connection was
Right.
cut quickly.
Well, we're
Oh,
just
I'm
saying goodbye to everybody. So,
Yeah, goodbye to everybody. Jesse, thanks for joining.
all right. And Jesse,
Thanks.
thank
I had
you.
a really good time. So hopefully I can come back on the podcast and keep things entertained.
Yeah, it was actually useful to have only 2 time zones this time with our guest. So, yeah, it was easier to synchronize everybody. So, thanks for listening, guys, and thank you for being here, Jesse and Shinyo and Dennis. And we'll be back soon with episode 15, I believe. Bye for now.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you, Joe. Good night, everyone.